In this example, you will see how eGlue can aid in retention in real time during an interaction. Now, eGlue takes three different approaches to customer retention. The first is what we call proactive retention, essentially utilizing customer information, interaction data, and even retention analytics. eGlue can help determine which customers are at risk of cancellation and proactively notify an agent at the start of a call through the use of a call-out. The second method is what we call reactive retention, and that is if a cancellation starts to occur during this interaction, we can react to that event and provide retention aid to the agent during the course of that interaction. The third is what we call on demand. So the agent always has the ability to go up and utilize the eGlue toolbar to obtain help and information, again, on demand. So that would be the agent initiating it. So for our example today, we're going to use the second approach, which is reactive retention. So what I'll do is, let's say somebody's calling in today, and it's going to be Mr. John Ackley, and John is going to be calling in today to cancel his current policy. So what you'll notice is as that call comes in and we put that activity type in and we're showing that the customer wants to cancel this account, we're being presented with a call out called dynamic probing questions. Now, the dynamic probing questions are a list of questions created based on who the customer is, what products and services they currently have, as well as other information we captured about this interaction. What I'm going to show you here is a retention process that involves starting a discussion with the customer and ultimately discovering what the real reason they're calling in to cancel for. The next is, once we understand what the reason is, to provide sort of a value proposition or to communicate what the value of our product is and get the customer to remember why they bought that product in the first place. If that's not effective in retaining the customer, then the next step would be to offer some sort of incentive. If the incentive does not work, then to discuss any penalties associated with cancellation. So following that process, what you'll see here is the questions again created based on the relevant information we have about this customer. The idea here is we're going to put into one of these checkboxes a reason of cancellation. So let's say that for this example, the customer says they have a competitor, a different policy that they are going to get a lower premium on. So selecting that competitor box in the callout will bring up information on how to retain a customer based on a competitive offering. So again, here's the relevant tactics. Here's the suggested path we should take when somebody is trying to switch to another carrier for a policy. Now within this callout, you'll see there are three different sections, the first of which being a script. So we can provide the scripting information, again the relevant information that this agent needs access to, as well as supporting points. So here are the points you need to mention to this customer in order to communicate that value proposition. At the bottom of the callout, we have next steps. So there are a few different things that could happen here. We could find out that maybe it's not a competitive offering, so we can change the reason. The customer could say, you know what, I'm good with this, I'll stay with my account, and the customer would be retained. Now, the bottom two is, the first one is to offer additional incentives, which we will do, and the second one is we can transfer that call or initiate the transfer for that call to another department if that's warranted. So in this case, let's say that we want to offer additional incentives. The person may have been on the fence. So when I select that link, what eGlue is going to do is actually go out to another application, look up some information, and determine, well, what kind of incentives can we offer this person? So in this case, we have the ability to offer them a $75 good driver discount. So we've looked up some information about the customer automatically and determined that. We could also provide some input to the agent themselves to enter some information, ultimately sort of gauge what type of incentive options we have for this particular customer. Now again, underneath the incentive options, we have next steps. So what has happened? Was the customer retained? Did they accept that offer? Or did they not, and is it appropriate to talk about any cancellation penalties that may apply? So let's explore that option for a moment, and I'm going to select Talk About Penalties. So again, information comes up regarding what penalties are associated with cancellation for this particular policy. In this case, you'll see that there are 11 months left on this policy, and if there's an early cancellation, this person will be exposed to a $40 cancellation fee. Underneath that explanation of the penalty, you'll also see we have a link that says explain penalty. So I'm going to select that link, and what will happen is eGlue is going to bring up sort of a cost-saving matrix. Now what we want to show with this example is the ability to provide complex calculations on the fly. In this case, it's sort of an ROI calculator for the customer. So what does it mean if they switch to another carrier based on whether they pay that cancellation fee or they accept the incentive offer that we provided to them? So I can enter in a monthly premium. Let's say that they had a quote for $375, and as I enter that information, you'll see that it fills out that table and gives me the bottom line based on what that customer is looking at if they do go ahead and cancel their policy. And you'll see in the bottom of the call out, the calculation is showing us that they could actually have a $565 3-month savings if they take that incentive plan that we had previously offered them. So at that point, the customer could either be retained or they'd go ahead with canceling their policy, which we transfer to the termination desk. We'll say the customer is retained because we've proven that they can receive good value and save money by staying with the company today. So just to quickly recap what we've seen, again, this is a reactive retention scenario based on a cancellation event occurring. eGlue is providing the relevant help and guidance based on, again, who the customer is, what they're calling in to cancel, and why they're canceling that policy. Providing, again, the relevant information, relevant points to bring up with the customer, and guidance on how to successfully retain that customer.